today I'm going to be speaking about a step-by-step methodology for building your business using LinkedIn. How many people feel the need to know how to build their business using LinkedIn? It's a big question. And one of the things I'm going to say about it is actually I'm not going to show you anything on LinkedIn today, because the theory behind how you build your business on LinkedIn, it really is about the foundations of your business. It's not necessarily about the actions that you take on the platform. So I'm going to throw out some questions later on, and we're going to have a Q&A session. So if you do have questions, please do hold them, because I'm going to answer them. And actually just jump in if you want to ask a question. You don't have to wait for me to finish. I'd love it to be interactive. But just to let you all know, I've been helping people build their business on LinkedIn for the last 8 years now. 2 of them was working for another company selling LinkedIn training. And 6 of them have been, 6 to 7 of them have been actually working for myself, writing people's LinkedIn profiles. And it was about 18 months into writing LinkedIn profiles that I started to realize that people, I could write the LinkedIn profile for them, but they weren't going to get a return on investment because they didn't have the foundations in their business actually structured in a way that was going to help them to actually make it work. And in these conversations, I would end up telling them a lot of information and helping them make decisions very quickly in a 90-minute LinkedIn profile interview for me to then go and write it. But because it was sort of done last minute in that meeting for me to be able to write it on the LinkedIn profile, they didn't have ownership over what I was saying, and therefore they weren't bringing it into their business structures, and therefore it wasn't working. So what I decided to do was to actually step back from that and actually only write for people if they had these foundations in their business, and if they didn't, to actually coach people in creating them and to help them to do it using my online training course and coaching one-to-one. And that's very much where my focus has been for a long time now. Once we've got certain things in place, I can actually write the LinkedIn profile, and then we can start an active strategy of posting content on LinkedIn and engaging with people, and then proactively inviting people to sales appointments and things. But in order for this to really work, for your business to work on LinkedIn, it's not as simple as just having something on a LinkedIn profile, posting content. You know, last week we had John, the video of which is available for you actually on the blog, on the Expert Economy website. When John came and talked to us about how we increase engagement, how often to post, where to post, when to do it, all of those different things, which was absolutely fantastic. But in order for that to actually turn into actual business, there's more things that we have to do. So that's why I want to start with you today, because it's not about visibility, and it's not about posting the most frequently or beating, like getting on the right side of the algorithm of LinkedIn. Those things are great, and we're going to do them, but we have to have these foundations in place first. And so the first thing I'm going to say for all of you is that when you're building your business with LinkedIn, is you've got to begin with the end in mind, because otherwise you're on LinkedIn for the sake of being on LinkedIn. You are posting content 4 days a week. You are aiming to get your 15 comments, get the right C. You're aiming to get the right 15 comments within 2 hours, responding to those people. So you've got 15 author comments within 2 hours and 15 likes within 2 hours. That's the holy grail. If you can achieve that, LinkedIn starts to like you. And if you do it repetitively about 4 times a week with different types of content, you're going to start getting seen. That can take a lot of attention and a lot of focus. And unless you're actually sitting there going, why am I doing this? It can become the end goal. It can be the main thing we're focusing on. We can focus on visibility. How many people have seen that post? How many people are engaging with that post? Did anyone even bother commenting? Was what we said correct or not correct, like the right way to engage people? And we can really start getting caught up with the wrong metrics, the wrong thing to be looking at. And when it comes to the beginning with the end in mind, it's asking ourselves, what are we doing this for anyway? Why are we on this platform? Why am I creating this content? Because some pieces of content, we might spend half an hour over them, and actually only 200 people see it. And of them, yes, people comment, but they're not our ideal prospects. So why have we spent that much time on it anyway? So I'm going to throw it out to you guys. What do you think is the end in mind? When we're going for this, we're doing all of this activity on LinkedIn. What is our end goal? What are we actually aiming to do? Anyone?
Getting customers.
Getting customers, yes. The end goal is that we want to win new business, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. We'd be on the beach. We'd be off doing whatever with our children and our families and just having fun, enjoying life. Oh, somebody needs to mute. We most certainly wouldn't be sitting here writing posts, commenting, engaging with people. We would be out having fun. So we have to understand that when we begin with the end in mind, we're actually saying that our end goal is to get sales. We really need to get sales from LinkedIn. But of course, that's a bit of a strange thing, because on social selling, we definitely don't outright sell. We don't pitch what we're doing. We don't throw it out there. We've got to build relationship, and we've got to build community first. But in all of this relationship building and community, the one thing that translates into the sale, and the only way you're going to get a sale is if you have sales, your outcome is sales. The only way you're going to get the sale is if you have sales appointments. The sales require sales appointments. So when you're on LinkedIn and you're doing all of the different things and you're engaging with people, your focus needs to be on getting sales appointments, getting the right number of sales appointments that in a given month, they will convert into the number of clients you actually need. So if you know that you convert 1 in 4 people that you speak to, and you need 2 clients, then you're going to need to be booking 8 sales appointments per month. But let's hedge our bets and maybe put that up to 10 or above, just to hedge our bets, or to get more clients if we would like them. That has to be our focus. Our focus has to be the only metric that actually matters is how many sales appointments have I booked this month? Because if you haven't booked the sales appointment, you haven't got any hope of getting the sale. So the question is, for all of the things you're doing on LinkedIn, can I book this sales appointment? Can I invite someone to a sales appointment and have them say yes? Now, yes, I'll attend and come open and interested in what you've got to say. Now, the question with that is, why would anybody attend a sales appointment? Because nobody actually wants to be sold to, right? If I said to you, come on a sales appointment, you'd be like, what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in an awkward position of saying no to you. I don't know if I want your product yet. I don't know if I have this problem yet. I don't know if the extent of the problem I have is really, that I need to invest in it. So in order to get to know people and explore this with people, what we really need is a compelling call to action. And that is something that adds value to people. So the compelling call to action in my business is a LinkedIn profile and strategy review. There's no obligation within it. It's a get to know you. I add value. I tell you all of the answers, because I know if you can go and fix it for yourself, you're going to fix it for yourself. I only want to work with people who go, my goodness, I cannot do that. I need your help. And I'm really going to appreciate every minute we work together. So every business needs a reason to get people on the phone. If it's just a one-to-one, you know how you go to networking events and they actually count how many one-to-ones have taken place. I've actually got a podcast, if you'd like to listen to it, on why doing that will send your business broke. Because one-to-ones have no direction. They have no reason other than to get to know each other. You often meet face-to-face. You have to buy the coffees. You have to do all the pleasantries of sitting there and then excuse yourself. And it takes a lot of time. But when you have a compelling call to action, people will automatically book themselves in your diary because they want to hear from you. They want to hear your expertise. They want your opinion on what they're doing. They want you to signpost them. They want you to diagnose their problem. So what we need to do in our business is create this compelling call to action. A free half-an-hour coaching session isn't really going to fly, because what's the intention or the purpose there? So I'll come into a little bit more of that later when we talk about transformational packages. The key thing to remember is that with your call to action, with that sales appointment, it is actually the most expensive offer you have in your business, because it's your time, but also it's the time you just cannot risk not investing, because it's the sales appointment. And also it's important to understand that even though you're offering this signposting, this review, this diagnostic, this call to action for free, it's not free for your prospects. Because when they come and they talk to you, it's actually their time, for starters, which you could rate at any level, I suppose, but it's their time. But it's also their confidential information that they're trusting you with. And also, depending on what the subject is that you do, it is also their vulnerability as well. They're going to get vulnerable telling you this information. And for some people, it might be the first time they've ever vocalized what it is that they feel and they're experiencing. And that could open an entire Pandora's box that they may not be able to shut again. So when that person says, yeah, I want to come and have a conversation, like Mary Lewin there with your coaching, when they come and say, I'd like to experience your service, they're probably going to open up vulnerability in areas within them that they've never put words to before. So not only does it have to be safe for them and they feel confident with it, there has to be a purpose with it of, I think I'm going to buy this. I think I'm ready for a solution now. Because they're opening up for the very first time. So it's not where we think we're giving away a free something or other and that person should gratefully just take it. It's not that. So when designing the call to action, we have to be really, really careful how we put it together, how we structure it, and go about it so that we can actually get to the right answer, lead people in the right way. So your sales appointment is also something that needs to be structured with a clear plan. At the end of the session, we're going to pitch our product. We want to be at the position where we've pitched our product. But if that person has just opened up and been vulnerable to us, to suddenly turn around to them and say, will you buy from me? Can I pitch you my service? Can be a real break in rapport, and it can come really completely left field. It is also possible as well that somebody will phone you up out of the blue and want to talk to you about your service and whether you can help. Now, in my business, where I have been offering LinkedIn profile reviews for 8.5 years, I can tell you, if someone phones me and says, can you give me a LinkedIn profile review? And I say to myself, oh, I've got time. Yeah, I will do it right now. It will never turn into a sale. Also, it will go way over half an hour, maybe up to an hour as well. Why do you think the reason for this might be?
Their expectations are different.
Go on.
You're not busy. You don't seem to be busy if you can take it straight away.
Yeah.
So,
oh, sorry, Mary.
So go on. Right, you go.
No, so probably just when they're calling you, there may be a real sort of high level of stress. So it then becomes an offloading exercise.
Yeah.
They're not sure what they want, and here you're offering something to them. They say, oh, why not? It won't have the structure and background to make them want to talk to you for a review.
Yeah. What happens is they come and they're in a position of asking, can I have a LinkedIn profile review? Which means they're in a place of justifying their problem, their experience, and they're really kind of like in that energy. What they're not in is a position of solving it. And so for you, because you have just taken the phone call, not only are you stopping what you're doing, which is quite disruptive to your time, but also you are giving away, you're not able to structure the call in the same way. You don't have the same authority to go, great, well, we're here today to do this, and I'm going to lead you through, and this is the process we're going to do. It's really hard to claim that back. So, even if you say, yeah, I can do that, actually, I can do it in an hour's time or in half an hour's time, it's still really worth putting the phone down and coming back and going, even if it's 20 minutes, yeah, I can do it at 1 o'clock. I'll give you a call, did I set it all up? And, then you phone later. And then you've got the stance and you can structure the call and lead it through. And some of the reasons we need to structure it is so that we are asking the right questions to diagnose the problem and bring the person to the point where they realize that they have a problem and they need to invest in a solution. Without that, we don't elicit from that person everything that they need, and we don't take them around the buying cycle journey in order for them to conclude for themselves they want to invest. And we also don't get to ask the question at the beginning and set the stage that, we are going to pitch our product at the end if we feel that it's appropriate and that there is a match. So there's some real kind of structured things that we have to go through, but during the call to get to the end point, but we also have to say at the beginning in order to allow us to get to the point at the end where we can ask the buying question. And we feel able to pitch our service, that there isn't that break in rapport. So always book it in, and always make sure it's. And again, our businesses are time sensitive, and time really is money. So when we're working on a task, we need to be working on a task, not filtering phone calls and doing admin, trying to find times and diaries to book people in. So anything you can do to structure your time and make that really easy, such as having a diary link that they book and they book themselves into your diary. These things are all massive time-saving things that are going to really put a lot of structure behind your business. And I could go on and on about that right now, but I'm going to keep us moving forward because we are time sensitive right now too. So what we really want is people to come to us pre-sold and ready to buy. What we don't want to be doing is warming that person up. We don't want to be telling them about our service for the first time. We don't want to be convincing them that they need us, because this is not something you can do in the time frame that you've got. And it's why a lot of companies, they talk about follow-up. Are you doing your follow-up? It takes 8 follow-ups to get a sale. Well, when you're doing this right, it actually shouldn't take 8 follow-ups because when you do the structured conversation correctly, you know that person's made the right decision for them. You know where their indecision is coming from. You know where their insecurities are coming from to not want to take the step forward. And you know that maybe you're not the right solution. They need something else. They need to do something else first. You just know so much more that it's actually, I find almost disrespectful to phone them up and follow up, because it's like saying, I didn't actually listen to you and I didn't care. And I just want you to do this for me. So with this, what we actually need to do is have them ready to buy from us by the time they come. That is that they have an outline of what our packages are, that they have an idea of what working with us would look like. Because actually, in the time that they take from bookings to actually having the conversation with you, if you've made them aware of the problem that they have, they will be thinking, can I see myself working with this person? What would that look like? How would that be? And they're actually at that point selling themselves into working with you. So if you look at any profile, LinkedIn profile that I've written for somebody, in their experience section, you will actually see an outline of their packages. Not the functionality of the packages, not the pricing of the packages or how it's delivered, but the rationale for why the solution is needed. So that person is going, oh yeah, I could really see that. I really want that. And they start selling themselves on it. And I'm going to talk to you about how that person comes to that position shortly as well. So what we want to do is become recognized as an expert in our industry, because 57% of a decision is now made online before person speaks to a sales representative or gets involved. Now, of course, this statistic, is it too old, being 2014, or is it not? You can see the reference under there where it came from. Now, in a lot of industries, we are in 100%, we make our decision online and we don't speak to anybody. Now, with us, we can't really update and say, oh yeah, 100% of decisions made online, because there's a chemistry check between us that needs to happen. And actually we need to speak to that person. So the other 43% there is actually the talking to the person and doing the sales conversation. What we don't want to do is start having that sales conversation when they're only 10% of the way through. We need them to be quite a long way through and ready to speak to us. And not coming into this cold. So what we want to do is content is we want to be sharing types of content that get them to that 57%. And that is to really look at how people buy. Now, traditionally, what happened privately for people was that they would identify they had a problem. They would start researching possible solutions. They would shortlist providers. They would get approval if it was in a team or approve themselves, and then they would take the action to buy. So that sounds all pretty logical, doesn't it? That's what we would do. Now, there's some really interesting things here that go on, because firstly, if you get I thought I was clicking on that, sorry. If you get shortlisted, this means that you are one of many people that they're considering working with and getting a proposals from. Now, what happens if you are one of 3 people that they've shortlisted? What do you think happens to that relationship and how easy it is to sell if you're one of 3 people.
I think that really depends on how you've cultivated that relationship before.
Yeah, before, yeah. If they like you,
If they trust you, you've got a much better chance, even if you're on the shortlist, to go further forward than if they don't know you and they're just knowing you by name.
But if they just know you by name, can anyone guess what happens if you are literally putting a proposal in with a price?
They'll go for the lowest cost or the people that they've got a relationship with.
Yeah. So they're either going to go with previous suppliers because they've got a relationship with them, or because they've networking, or they've just liked the person, like Michael was saying. But the main thing is they're going to buy on price, and they're probably going to go. They'll always most likely go for the lowest price, and they'll try and beat you down on price, and then it just comes into cost cutting, and it gets really unprofitable. And
that's where I think it's wrong. Actually, you shouldn't actually buy on price. You should buy on the.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's about.
How can I put it? You should.
Totally, Michael. I totally agree with you.
I can't explain it.
What we need to do here is that we need to get past this shortlisting. Now, when we do this right, we actually don't get onto any shortlist at all. And that's really quite nice. When you don't even go on the shortlist, you're just the person they buy from. And the first thing is that they also have to be able to identify that they have a problem in the first place. So in the old days, when I say the old days, pre-internet, somehow that person had to identify that they had a problem, that the way that they were living was not normal. And most people are just stuck in the status quo, thinking this is the way it is, and they don't go looking for a solution. But post the internet and obviously now social media, we are in a completely different area. So when you look at this, which is an updated version that I have created, you can see here, it's a cycle that goes around like a clock. And I've got there the sale, which is the ultimate outcome that we want. And we've got the sales appointment, which obviously I've said is the connector point. And then you've got the sales conversation. But first of all, you have to have a lead that wants to come in and actually work with you. So in order for them to want to work with you, they have to know that they have an investment. They have money to invest. They're ready to invest. They want to invest. Now, most marketing strategies will actually talk to you about SEO, search engine optimization. But the problem with search engine optimization is it assumes that the person already knows they have a problem and are looking for a solution, and that they are well versed in their problem and understand their problem enough that they know exactly the keywords to use. When actually so many people don't know the keywords at all. So when they actually start their Google search, they aren't actually using any of your keywords at all because they're not educated in your solution or problem for those keywords to work. So there's an interesting statistic right here. Where's it not coming up? Yeah, so most people, they don't know they have a problem and living with a solution. I must have a clicker on there. Yeah, and 71% of people start their research with a generic search, which means your keywords aren't coming up at all. But with the use of social media, we actually have the ability to find an entirely new market of people who've never spoken to our prospect before, that don't, our competitors before, they've never spoken to our competitors before, they don't know what the pricing is, because they didn't actually know that they had a problem. They're just someone living with the status quo, thinking this is the way life is. You know, you hire staff and the staff leave. This industry's normal level is 60% of people leave every year in this industry. We have 60%, that must be normal. Until you find out that there's a company in your industry that has a 10% turnover of staff. And then you go, oh, whoa, that's new. Like, I must be able to fix this. So with LinkedIn and any of the social media profiles, we actually have the ability to start the sales process right up here in the and get a new lead. And 74% of buyers that actually first learn about the fact that they have a problem will actually stay with you and buy from you as well. So when you think about that statistic, however we break that down, is if someone comes to an awareness that they have a problem through you, they are going to buy from you. 74% of people will choose your company. So that is a really, really powerful quote that I've got on the screen there. 74% of buyers choose the company that was first to add value as they were defining their decision to buy. So with that, what we want to do is we want to start working with prospects who don't know they have a problem, people who are living with symptoms. And this really falls into the type of content that we're sharing online and the type of messaging that we're putting out there. So if someone doesn't know they have a problem and aren't looking for a solution, they're not going to respond to most of our posts that talk about solutions. What they will respond to, though, is things that talk about the symptoms that they are living with. So if I stay with my recruitment example, they've got 6% of their staff are leaving every year. I again can bring them to and that is actually from the recruitment to recruitment industry, that recruitment companies lose 60% of their recruiters every year. And that's just the normal. The costs are built into the company, that's what they expect. But actually there is now a company out there that has got that down to 10%. So as soon as that person's like, whoa, there's a 10% around here that works, oh my gosh, I've got to do that. So suddenly they've created awareness that there's a different way of doing things. That's a symptom in their business. They have a problem, that the status quo isn't what they thought, that they can solve it, that it's not normal to be arguing with your staff or your spouse. It's not normal to always be whatever it is. We create awareness that their normal isn't normal, that there is a solution to it. So they come into an awareness and they identify with it and they go, oh my goodness, that's me. I've been living this way. Oh my goodness, what is this? At which point they start their research and they start to research, what is this? Why is this resonating with me? What is going on in my life? And what is going on in other people's lives? Is what I'm experiencing not normal? At which point they then come to a diagnostic and they diagnose, gee, actually, this is my problem. I do have a problem with leadership in my business. I do have a problem with whatever it is. They diagnose themselves and they go, right, okay, right, I'm going to do something like this. And we probably do this ourselves a couple of times a month, I would think, when we go, right, I must go and buy a book on this subject and read about it. Or I'm going to go to YouTube and see if I can find any training videos or podcasts or networking events, whatever it is. Because at this stage, once someone's diagnosed, they're going to go into a self-implementation. How can I fix this? How can I move myself forward? Now I know I have a problem. What can I do about it? And for some people in that, if they can fix their problem for themselves and they do, brilliant, let them carry on. Let them use your content and fix their own solution. So my website, the Profile Company, has lots of unknown caller on it about how to build your own LinkedIn profile. Because if you can write and you can do it for yourself, please just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? And I've had many people who have just taken that, used it themselves and got on with it and done it brilliantly. And then they meet somebody else at a networking event who expresses an issue and they say, oh, go use this website. It's got all the answers on it. And they do, and they look at it and go, gee, I just can't do it myself. And then they book themselves in with me. And they're already therefore pre-sold on the fact that they cannot solve it themselves and that they need a solution. So there's levels here. Each different business will actually have different levels of how much they need to put into create awareness, research, and self-implementation. One of my company clients in IT, they have very little self-implementation because they're actually building massive Sage systems. So there's not much a prospect can just go, oh, I'll just go do it myself. Unless it's like a small tweak, they can diagnose and go, no, you don't need to invest £1 million, just go do this. And they go, oh, thank you. So there's different businesses sit in different areas about how much you need to be creating an awareness. If you are a coach or someone solving a problem, creating awareness is going to be a big issue because people don't invest in solutions unless they know that they have a problem, and most people won't understand the extent of their problem. They're just living with the stagnant growth in their business, the way they feel about themselves in it. So we can talk to the symptoms of their problem and bring it through. At the point of which they've gone through and they've gone, I can't fix this for myself, they're then going to come to invest and they're going to go, I'm going to have to put some money into this. I can see that I need to buy something. So now we've got the pre-sold. They're pre-sold and ready to buy that they need a solution. The question is now, who am I going to buy from? At which point they will look at your profile. Now, they may have gone through this whole journey just looking at your profile in the first place. Then that's your LinkedIn profile, or they may have looked at some of your other content and got to your profile. But at this point, your profile really is a wide definition of profile. It's what shows up online about you. Do you look good? Do you look succinct? Do you look like a credible person? Is your story lined up? So yes, we are talking about your LinkedIn profile here, but we're also talking about your website. And if you have one, there's no prerequisite with this that you have to have one. But just anything you're using as a marketing asset, does the message line up? Do you line up as a credible person? Your story line up? Your reason why you're good at this? Does your rationale for the problem you've been talking about with your content, does that all line up as well? Can I see why I'd want to work with you over somebody else? And this really comes down to having a very clear problem that you solve in the marketplace, a reason why someone should talk to you rather than somebody else. So with that, of course, there's lots more that goes into this, which I'm not going to be able to cover today, but it is about having that transformational package, which you can see on after the sale there. It goes sale to complete. There's a transformational package there that you take people through. And this is part of the structure of your business, that we're not writing bespoke solutions for people every time, that we are creating a package that literally goes through step 1, step 2, step 3. So Anna, I know you're I can see you there and you're a fashion designer, and somebody would come to you and then the dress or the hat or whatever it is you're making, it is bespoke. So you might think to me there like, so Anna would therefore be a variation where you might go, well, it can't be that bespoke because well, I have to do bespoke rather. But actually there are steps and stages that go in, coming in for the consultation, putting the initial designs together, signing those off and agreeing it, going through the manufacturing of it, going through the you know, when you wear it and they measure it and test it, it works, and then packaging it and sending it off. There are actually stages inside of that, and you know, even in your coaching, you might have a 5-step methodology that you take people through to get that transformation, to take them from where they are now to where they need to get to. And with that transformation, if you were to break it down into 5 key steps that people go through, you then have something you can build assets around in your business, like whether that's worksheets, audios, working with other partners to take that person through the transformation. You've got a step-by-step process that's uniquely yours, is an asset, and that when you create new things to work with clients, you don't just create it for one client, you create it for all clients, and therefore your methodology gets stronger and better every single time. And that's part of your signature brand. It's part of what people are buying, and they'll be able to see that really clearly in what you do. So when it comes to building your LinkedIn, your business on LinkedIn, it's to have these structures in place. It's to make sure your LinkedIn profile really lines up with what you do. What is the problem that you solve really, really uniquely, that really drills into why are you the expert at this? Now, this obviously isn't a session on how to build your LinkedIn profiles, so I'm not going to go into that, how it's structured, but what you need to get in is like that real story about why are you doing this and what are your packages. The experience section for your company really wants to map out how you work with people, because we don't want to know what you do in your business, like a job, because that's just not relevant to your prospect. So what are you going to write? Well, a lot of people actually repeat what they've put in the about section. That's just a waste of retail space. Let's take people deeper and show them what we actually do and how we do it. And like I said, all of this tuition's on the profile company website anyway. So what we really want to be doing, like I said, is focusing on that sales appointment. We're on LinkedIn, we're doing, we're commenting, we're sharing content that builds awareness, that helps people to diagnose their problem, that helps them to do it for themselves to a certain extent. We're sharing all this different type of content, and all of that is building up our profile. And with it, it comes down to sales appointments. So connecting with people, asking them why they asked you to connect, and saying to the people, oh, would you like whatever it is that you're offering? I want to say sales appointment there, but you don't ever say that to somebody. Like with myself, it's like, would you like me to give you a LinkedIn profile and strategy session? Yes or no? and they go, yeah, actually, that's really helpful. I can see myself getting a lot of value from that. That's a good use of half an hour. I will say yes to this. And then, you know, you do enough of those and it converts into it converts into sales. So have I just made that sound really easy or really complicated? Anyone got any questions on that?
Naomi, it's thank you. That's really helpful, and you know, really sort of broadens out the what we're all meant to be doing here. Out of interest, have you ever come across any figures that would obviously, you know, what you're talking about and what we're doing in our businesses is work, really wanting to work with people that accept that they have to make changes and are happy enough to make changes. Mm-hmm. Do you know, were there any figures around, like, you know, what percentage of people actually will actively make a change, and what percentage go, actually, I won't make a change, I'll just stick with what I've got?
No, I don't think it would, because I think it would be dependent on the industry and what people are actually exposed to.
Yeah, because when you the recruitment example, sometimes people get overwhelmed, don't they, with the fact that yes, I know I need to make changes, and yes, if I make these changes, I can get to this point. Oh, it's all too much, or it's too expensive, I'll not do that. I'll just stick with my high turnover of staff and keep the budget to cover the costs. Yeah,
I wouldn't say there was any statistics there at all, but it is there is ways of like bringing people, every person will go through that buying cycle. And even when you do a sales conversation, the way you structure your sales conversation is that you walk people back through this. So even though they're coming to you saying, I want it, you actually have to go back through and go, well, what's their awareness level around it? How do they identify with the problem? Have they correctly diagnosed themselves? What have they done so far that has or hasn't worked? And what's the consequence of continuing to try and do it yourself or not doing anything at all? That all builds up that level of investment. So again, like when I was talking about the structure of the sales call, there are things that we have to do in the sales call that actually build that person around to, gee, I have to do this now. So that, what I think with you, Sharon, is it's not saying that it is what's the statistic. I would assume everybody's in there. What can I do to solve that for people? How can I, if I assume that everybody's confused, how can I get somebody on the phone to want to solve it with me? And then actually that is the answer, because that's the only way you're going to get to solving it. Because again, if you're only going for people who are like, yeah, I'm ready to do something, you're only looking at the invest level. And you know, on the diagram where it says invest, you're only looking at that. So hopefully I'm saying that clearly. But yeah, it is our job to actually get that person to that point and check that they have everything that they want. So just for time reasons, I'm just going to whittle through. If you would like to talk to me about your strategy right now, whether you've got the right elements in your business and how that works, I'm really happy to jump on a profile review with you. So I've called it a strategy session here, but it actually at the moment is still going through the profile website. So it is a LinkedIn profile and strategy review. Do come and have a conversation with me. I'm really happy to talk to anyone, give you half an hour and give you all the insights. We can record that conversation and you can take it off and use it yourself. Or we can have a conversation about how I can actually work with you. And of course, don't forget that I have my book as well, which you can download and have a read of too. So on that note, do make sure to follow the Expert Economy on LinkedIn if you aren't already, because on there you'll see all the upcoming events that we've got going on. And also, if you have come to us directly today from LinkedIn, then if you want to be on the email list and be told when new events are happening, and also receive the downloads and our offers from our speakers, it is best getting onto our mailing list. So do go to the Expert Economy website.co.uk, theexperteconomy.co.uk/Friday networking. On there, you'll find out loads more about us, who the upcoming speakers are, and you can also register for the next event as well. And then you will be on our mailing list, and you'll get inbox reminders, and the Zoom will be in your email as well. And just to say, if you don't know where the link is at any time for one of our events, you can always look on LinkedIn. And you can always look back on any past emails as well post May, because we keep the same link and it will be in your email. So you can just come back in every time, the same link. And I'm really not fussy about you signing up. I'd just rather you come. So if you suddenly realize 10 minutes before you can come, then just go into past email, find the link, and you can come in, as well as look on LinkedIn.